Well, as Canada marks National Indigenous Peoples Day tomorrow, a national conversation is unfolding about Indigenous rights, nation building, and meaningful consultation. At the centre of that debate is Ottawa's controversial Major Projects Bill. Now, joining us this morning to discuss what's at stake, as well as her final term in office, is the Assembly of First Nations Yukon Regional Chief, Kluane Adamek. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to start with Bill 5 because it's Bill C-5, pardon me, because it's expected to pass today, 1 month after being introduced in the Parliament, and despite concerns that it could trample on Indigenous rights. What have been your biggest concerns about how this legislation has been handled?
Look, you're seeing First Nations from coast to coast to coast standing up to say, you are not working with rights holders being Indigenous people, First Nation, Métis, and Inuit. And specifically that bill, has the major potential to infringe upon treaty rights. So that's really important. The next thing is it doesn't specify the regulations. And so there's a piece of legislation, and the commentary around, oh, this is, legislation to enact other legislation. This is legislation for us to sort of be elbows up in this fight against, what we're dealing with the U.S. But the issue is that there's not certainty around environmental protection. And so as First Nations people, we're saying, hold the phone. We're going 20 years back in time by the federal government taking this approach, so not including First Nations people, rights holders from the get-go. We've ultimately said on a number of occasions that any legislation about us, anything for us, has to be with us. It can't be without us. And so that's at the fundamental issue here is there was no proper consultation, no proper engagement. And there's already a standard in place through the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Canada has that legislation. So now we're seeing something that totally contradicts that. And so in the face of reconciliation, this is taking us back in time.
In your capacity as regional chief, your day-to-day may include, meetings with the Prime Minister, with top ministers. Have you had a chance to meet Prime Minister Carney? And if so, what did you say to him, or what do you hope to say to him?
Mark, give me a call. I haven't spoken with Mark yet. I've spoken with other ministers, specifically Rebecca Alty, Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations. Here's what's different about this piece of legislation. I come from the North, and this might not be widely known, but the entire North is actually land claim settlement territory. The Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. So our concerns and issues with this legislation is different in the same way that treaty nations, treaties 1 to 11, the issues that they might have are going to be different than here in Ontario, and us seeing over the last few days a lot of conversations in the news, First Nation chiefs from Ontario and their issues. That's the one thing that I think Canadians need to understand is every region and every community is different. And so for the federal government to think that this one piece of legislation is going to encapsulate what it is that we all need is highly problematic.
I want to ask you very quickly, because this year marks your final term in office. You have been the youngest woman ever as regional chief in the Assembly of First Nations. What has that meant to you, and what legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Firstly, it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve in this role. Walking in my early 30s, stepping into a table of all men was not easy. We have made some huge progress in addressing systemic issues, gender-based violence, harassment, discrimination, sort of within the context of First Nation leadership at the Assembly of First Nations. But further, it's been really about supporting young people. People might not know that I was actually on this youth council. I then worked at the AFN with a former national chief, which sort of grounded me in my understanding of First Nation politics, national processes. And so I'm really proud that I can share that with other young people, especially women, to sort of support them in their own journey in leadership, whether that be through elected leadership, taking on a specific role in community. Leadership is about showing up, and so I'm really proud in how my team has showed up over the last 8 years.
Okay, Chief Kluane Adamek, I have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Ganesh Chief, thank you.